What if fear lost its voice? Not tomorrow, not after years of waiting, but right here, in this very moment. What if every doubt, every hesitation, every invisible chain wrapped around your spirit shattered before you even finished hearing these words? You were not born with fear. It was taught. It was planted into your mind by men who had already surrendered their own strength. And if it was planted, it can be uprooted. What was installed can be uninstalled. Fear is not a force of nature. It is a construct of the mind. And what the mind builds, the mind can destroy. There is an enemy among us, a silent killer more devastating than failure, poverty, or rejection. That enemy is fear. Fear has kept more men broke than bad luck ever has. It has stolen more dreams than cages or chains ever could. Fear does not shout. It whispers. It wears a disguise of reason, of logic, of caution. But it is not your ally. It is the assassin of potential, the jailer of greatness, the enemy of every dream you hold inside you. I do not speak to soothe you. I do not speak to entertain you. I speak as one who has studied the giant of history, men like Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, Charles Schwab, Thomas Edison, John D. Rockefeller. Titans of industry, men who carved their names into the foundations of civilization. And I will tell you plainly, the only difference between the man who built an empire and the man who died with regret was this. The empire builder refused to bow before fear. You do not flirt with courage. You marry it. You do not negotiate with fear. You remove it. You do not wait for readiness. You act as if you already are. This is not a lecture. This is rebirth. The man who sits to listen will not be the man who rises. Because today, fear loses its crown. Fear is clever. It does not storm the gates of your life. It tiptoes in through habit. It enters through silence. It binds you by convincing you that the rope around your hands is part of your very skin. It whispers thoughts that sound reasonable. Be careful. Wait a little longer. What if it goes wrong? But let me be clear. These are not wise thoughts. They are enslaved thoughts. They are the voice of a man who has forgotten his own command over his mind. I have seen the truth up close. When Andrew Carnegie spoke to me, he did not talk about steel or fortune. He spoke of thought. He told me, a man who cannot control his mind is no better than a wild horse waiting to be broken. There was a fire in his eyes, the refusal to let fear touch him. Fear's mission is always the same. To scatter your energy, to make you pause when you should move, to circle endlessly until the moment is gone. Fear does not just rob you of action, it robs you of identity. The man you were born to be suffocates under the weight of hesitation. Think about it. Fear begins as a thought, a small, almost harmless whisper. But left unchecked, it repeats. What repeats becomes rhythm, and rhythm becomes identity. And this is how fear conquers nations, not with guns, not with war, but with minds that surrender their power without a fight. Look closely. What fears have you allowed to grow into habits? The fear of poverty, the fear of criticism, the fear of loss, sickness, old age, even death? These are the 6 ghosts I once wrote of, specters that haunt more men than failure ever could. And the worst part? They come disguised as intelligence, as humility, as caution. But there's a cure. And it begins here with a decision to name fear for what it is, a lie. Fear is not protection. Fear is not wisdom. Fear is poison. And like poison, it must be rejected, not tolerated, because the man who conquers fear is not the one who never felt it. It is the one who stood taller than it. That, my friend, is where mastery begins. And that training, my friend, is how self-command is built. From this moment forward, you are no longer a man who waits. You are a man who chooses. Even in uncertainty, even when the road is unclear, even when the crowd hesitates, you choose. Why? Because you are the architect of your life. And the builder does not ask the bricks for permission. He lays them anyway. To become fearless, you must first understand this. Fear is not a single event. It is not something that suddenly appears when life grows difficult. Fear is a habit. It is a pattern installed in your mind through years of unchallenged thoughts. But as with any habit, it can be rewritten if you are willing to apply stronger repetition in the direction of power. Repetition is the key, not the mindless repeating of tasks, but the deliberate imprinting of a new identity through disciplined thought. This principle became the cornerstone of my life's work. I called it many names: autosuggestion, definiteness of purpose, thought control. But call it what you will, its power remains the same. Let me show you through the lives of the greats. Andrew Carnegie, the man whose wisdom shaped my mission, was not born into riches. He was born into silence, into hardship, into what the world would call disadvantage. Yet Carnegie grasped a truth most men never see. The mind, once fixed upon a definite aim, begins to attract every condition necessary for its fulfillment. And so, each morning, he spoke his aim aloud. He declared the man he had chosen to become, again and again, until doubt could no longer enter his mind. I am not building a fortune, he would say. I am building a man who is worthy of one. Do you see the difference? You do not speak affirmations to feel better. You speak them because the subconscious accepts what it hears most often. Feed it power, and it will forget that fear ever existed. Consider Thomas Edison. He once said, "I never failed once. I only found 10,000 ways that will not work." That was not a clever remark. It was a ritual of thought. Edison rehearsed success so deeply in his mind that failure had no place to live. Each day he entered his laboratory not with hesitation but with certainty that something was forming, even if the world could not yet see it. That is a habit of thought I am asking you to build, a belief so deeply carved into your identity that fear cannot breathe within you. So I give you the tool, repetition, not just of words, but of posture, of discipline, of behavior. Repeat until the old patterns break under the weight of the new. Begin every morning with 4 acts. Write a clear statement of your definite aim. Declare it aloud with emotion. Visualize yourself as a man who has already achieved it. And finally, make a silent vow. I do not flinch. I do not fold. I do not fear. Do this daily, and your subconscious will begin to reshape itself. This is how Henry Ford built certainty. He was not the most educated. He was not the most polished. But he built a mental factory that produced belief. When faced with a problem too great for him, he would say, "I do not need to know the answer. I can summon it, or summon the man who holds it. The belief that the solution exists is enough." Ford had no room for fear, because his assumption was always that clarity would arrive. And it did. Now let me ask you, what do you rehearse each day when the world is silent? Do you whisper doubt into your mind? Do you repeat hesitation until it becomes identity? If so, you are programming yourself to fail. But if you speak power, if you declare strength, if you command certainty, then your very rhythm becomes fearless. So say it now. I am calm in uncertainty. I am steady under pressure. I am decisive in doubt. I do not fear the outcome. I shape it. Repeat it until it feels like armor. Repeat it until it no longer feels strange. Repeat it until it becomes you. Because fear is not born in this moment. It is the echo of unchallenged moments from the past. But today, that echo ends. Today, you speak with command. Today, you rise as a man who will no longer negotiate with fear. Mr. Edison, they asked him after countless failures, "Do you ever think of quitting?" Edison smiled and replied, "Young man, I have already decided to create this light. What I am doing now is only eliminating the ways that will not lead to it. That is definiteness of purpose. That is the death of hesitation. That is the soil in which all power grows. The uncertain man drifts, but the man of decision stands like stone. So I ask you now, have you decided? Because until you do, every step you take will be shadowed by fear. But once you decide, once you choose fully and finally, you will move like a man possessed, and fear will no longer recognize your face. But purpose must be reinforced. It must be hammered into the mind until it is louder than doubt, louder than distraction, louder than every whisper of fear. And the tool to do this, the master key of the mind, is autosuggestion. What is autosuggestion? It is a daily act of feeding your subconscious a new reality through repetition and emotion until that reality becomes identity. Your subconscious does not care about truth. It cares about repetition. It does not obey logic. It obeys dominance. The words you repeat, whether in belief or in sarcasm, are programming you line by line, day by day. That is why I implore you, do not treat these words as entertainment. Repeat them, not once, not when you feel like it, not only on days of inspiration. Repeat them every morning before the world touches you. Repeat them every night before sleep locks your thoughts into place. Because the enemy of progress is not failure, it is forgetting. And what you do not repeat, you will forget. What you do not rehearse, you will never become. Look at Henry Ford. He did not repeat weakness. He repeated belief. His words are still carved into history. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are right. That was not cleverness. That was mental programming. He left no space for doubt. He spoke possibility until possibility bent the world in his favor. Edison did the same. 10,000 so-called failures were nothing but repetitions of belief. Each attempt, each night in the laboratory, each laugh of the critic only gave his mind one more chance to rehearse certainty. And because he believed first, the world eventually bowed to his persistence. So let me speak to you plainly. If you do not program your mind, the world will. And the world will not give you courage. It will give you fear. It will feed you doubt. It will teach you to shrink. If you drift, you will become a copy of your environment, not the master of your destiny. That ends here. From now on, you must repeat who you are becoming. Speak to yourself as a commander speaks to his army, with force, with clarity, with finality. Rise each morning and declare, I'm not afraid. I move without hesitation. The world bends to my decisiveness. Do not whisper these words with apology. Speak them with conviction. The subconscious is deaf to weak voices, but it obeys a tone of certainty. Do not wait for others to understand. The crowd will never believe in you first. Their opinions are not your instructions. Their doubts are not your blueprint. Their approval is not required. Lincoln did not wait for applause before freeing slaves. Ford did not ask permission to build the automobile. Edison did not need consensus to bring light into the world. Neither do you. You are not here to win their approval. You are here to build. You are here to become undeniable. Understand this. Fear cannot survive in the presence of faith. Not blind hope, not wishful thinking, but faith forged daily by repetition, by decision, by discipline. You speak until your mind believes. You move until your actions obey. You repeat until fear suffocates and disappears. Say it now. I do not drift. I decide quickly. I change slowly. I burn the bridge behind me. I move forward without retreat. Burn the bridge. Because as long as retreat exists, fear will whisper that you can go back. But when the bridge is gone, when the decision is final, when there is no exit left, you awaken a force inside you that cannot be stopped. From this day forward, fear no longer lives in your house. It has stolen enough of your life. You are not its puppet. You are not its slave. You are not average. You are not ordinary. You are not a man who drifts. You are a builder of thought, a commander of action, a master of decision. Repeat this until it is carved into your bones. Fear no longer commands me. I do not ask permission. I walk with power. I repeat strength until strength becomes my nature. And when doubt rises, as it always will, you will not argue. You will not reason. You will simply return to your script. You will repeat. And in that repetition, fear will starve. Faith will flourish. And a man the world cannot move will be born. This is not theory. This is not fantasy. This is law. The law of the mind. The law of decision. The law of repetition. And from this moment, that law belongs to you. Walk with fire. Move with certainty. Speak with conviction. And live as a man who fear can no longer